I got told those no
Hello.
rules.
Not
Hello.
for you two.
Hello, and welcome to Roundtable Gaming Episode 2. Obviously, we've done specials, but this is of the main shows. And this month, we've got special guests from Green Pass Gaming. We've got Scott. Welcome, Scott. How are you doing?
Evening, Stubbs. I'm good, mate. Thank you very much. Been a long time coming. This we've been speaking for a while about getting on the show, and finally we lined one up where the missus is on night shift, so I can podcast late into the night. Normally I've got a 10 p.m. finish, so the missus can get some sleep. But yeah, I'm glad to be on, mate. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. And this is the first time we've actually been on the podcast together. It is.
It is indeed, yeah.
It is. It'd be fun. It will. Thanks for coming on. And welcome to Luke Steele. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well. Thank you. Been enjoying the weekend. And yeah, it's good to have Scott on, obviously. It's a bit of a Green Pass invasion, which is great. And yeah, we'll see what random topics come up this evening.
We will. And welcome to BMG. How are you doing?
Good evening. Thank you again for having me. It's great to be here. It's great to see everyone in chat. And Indie Gamer, fight. I wonder who that's referring to.
It's you on Twitter.
I might I might struggle to hold my concentration because there's this awful, horrible picture on the screen of a ugly blue rat, but I'll try and ignore it as we...
Everyone, don't believe his lies. BMG is sat there with a Sonic the Hedgehog teddy bear, so don't believe him. You're not going to show it now, are you?
Oh, no, I will. There he is. Everybody, say hi, Sonic. Good. Gone. That's it. Never shown again.
No, thanks for coming on. Welcome to Puxley in chat. Welcome to the Indie Gamer. Masuko, thanks for popping in. Who else we got? BMG as well. And also,
oh my god,
to Scott as well because he's also in chat. Shadow Mole, welcome. Thanks for stopping in. So, what we all been playing recently? I guess Luke's been on the hype train of what's that? Cult of the Lamb. You've been playing that game, have you?
Yeah, well, I haven't. I've been so busy at work recently that I haven't actually had a chance to play like a lot of anything. But I have played a couple of hours Cult of the Lamb. Funnily enough, I was playing it early on the Steam Deck #indie Steam Deck.
You had to get that in. You had to get that in.
And I was sat. Yeah, it's a record. And I was sat next to my wife, and she peeked over and she was like, "Oh, is this Cult of the Lamb?" Because she'd seen it, and I was like, "Yeah." And I was showing her around like the cult area, which you can build. You can build different things and recruit cult members and harvest. It's a bit Animal Crossing-esque, really. And within about 10 minutes of watching that, she went over, picked up the Switch, bought it, and that was at 3:00 or 2:00, and she's still on it now, still playing.
Really?
So yeah, so she's literally been playing it for probably 4 or 5 hours straight at this point.
Nice.
So she's really enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying it, except I haven't been able to play loads of it. But I played that, and then I've also been playing. I played about half an hour max of a game called Rollerdrome, which came out last week as well, which is on PlayStation and PC at the moment.
Is that a big company behind that? Because I went on the PS4 and they're the featured game on there. It's like must have a lot of money behind it.
It's Team 7. Is it Team 70 Publishing? Anyone? And then I think it's Roll 8, the devs who make Ollie Ollie World. So the publishing side of things quite big. And then obviously
it's private division, Luke.
It's a private division. There you go. So
yeah,
another big and Roll 8, I think, the dev. Yeah. So, Yeah, so and PlayStation featured it actually at one of their state of plays a couple of months ago.
Oh, yeah.
So they've got some kind of publishing marketing relationship there as well, private division. But that is like I've only played half an hour, which is mostly the tutorial element, but it's a super cool game. It's a lot of fun. It's essentially Tony Hawk's meets Guns, basically. Sort of a.
It sounds like nightmare fuel when you say it like that first.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's brilliant.
Is it just on? Is it on Xbox? Is it PlayStation?
No. It's just at the moment. It's just on PlayStation and PC.
Is it free, or you got to pay for it?
No, you have to pay.
Oh, I have to pay for it. Okay.
I think it's discounted on PlayStation at the minute, and I feel like it's discounted on PC as well on Steam, but it's only between £15 to £20. I'd say it's well worth it from the limited amount I've played so far, because it's really fun. It's got great music, really fun gameplay, and it's a really cool looking game in terms of art style, etc.
Good to hear. So, what you've been playing, BMG, apart from Sonic the Hedgehog?
I do not play Sonic the Hedgehog. That game is awful. It shouldn't exist.
I hear you've got the you're the insider. You've been testing out Luke's Game of the Year, Sonic Frontiers. I hear.
No, what? I tell you something. If they ever asked me to test that game out, I think I would throw it at them. It's why no one wants Sonic. We're in 2022 now. Sonic belongs back in the 90s or wherever it came from, and we shouldn't even be playing games like that today. Come on, let's get Paint Simulator. That'll be more fun than playing Sonic. Or Death Stranding. Play Death Stranding. If you don't want to play Sonic Frontiers because it's pretty much an empty world with floating rails, play Death Stranding that's coming to PC Game Pass. So if you haven't got Game Pass, pay £1, $1, and play it for that and try it out. Better than that thing that... he's changed the picture. We're seeing Sonic with teeth now. Oh, my God. No. It's so distracted. I've just been playing a bit of Deus Ex Mankind Divided, actually. I was playing it just before we went live. I didn't realise it had an FPS boost on the Series X, so picked it up and just started playing that, as well as my usual Destiny. Playing it, I'm ready for the next season now.
I've got to get back into that. I haven't played it in a little bit.
I'm done with it till Tuesday, because it's not until the live event 5:00, I think it is, PM BST on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. Watch that. Wait for the next season.
Why have they picked the same night as bloody Jeff Keighley's event?
Because, Tuesday's the reset anyway. It's always on a Tuesday, and I think Destiny actually announced theirs before Gamescom opening night announced their date. But to be honest, it's 2 hours before. It's only going to be about.
It might give Destiny a bit of a boost, maybe, in people knowing about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, because they're a small indie developer. They might need a bit of light shining on them.
I'm joking. No, they're not. Clearly not. They're AAA developers. They know what they're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it's, so I'm done with it for the moment because it's just an out for me to do. Oh, and a bit of Star Wars Battlefront 2 as well. Been a bit of that over the last couple of days. So, but other than that, that's about it, really. Nothing overly exciting.
Good to hear. Welcome to Wolf Darkness and War Stew. And Scott, what have you been playing recently then?
Well, similar to Luke. Well, in fact, I got a little bit of FOMO because I was looking forward to Cult of the Lamb. I played the demo on PC when that came out a while back, and I enjoyed what I played, but I thought I'm just going to hold off and play it. And then Indy and Luke were raving about it on the GPG podcast last week. And I was like, right, I'm going to have to just get this now. So I've mainly been playing that actually. I'm probably about, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours in at this point. I've just I'm on to like the third boss. For those who are familiar with the game, you'll know how it kind of works. So that's been the main thing I've been playing. Really enjoying it actually. It's scratching the same itch that Hades did, and Slay the Spire, actually, because it's got like a card element, and also just the way that you kind of take paths through the levels, for lack of a better phrase, is I'm really enjoying it. I'm not enjoying the actual Animal Crossing element of the game as that much. Thankfully, as you get later in the game, there are ways to kind of like automate a lot of those elements, which I'm pleased about. There's only so much shit I can sweep up before I'm like, I just want to go and kill some things. So that's been taking a lot of my time. I've been playing a lot of Sea of Thieves recently. Season 7 came out a couple of weeks ago, Sea of Thieves, so enjoying that. I actually got back into Apex Legends this weekend for the first time in a while. Get my Battle Royale fix. So been enjoying it.
It's your fault we're not getting a Titanfall 3.
Now, BMG. Now. I supported Titanfall more than anyone. I'll let you know. I played so much Titanfall and Titanfall 2, and those bastards didn't give us a third. You know what it is, BMG? You know, it's funny that you say that. You know what really annoyed me a few weeks back? I don't know if you saw it, but there was a job listing up for a developer of some variety for a new game at Respawn in the Apex universe. Not the Titanfall universe that Apex Legends is from, in the Apex universe. That really that annoyed us, because I love Titanfall 1 in particular was amazing. So but I do like my Battle Royale, so Apex does do it for me a bit. So,
but you missed a chance there, Scott, to fire back at BMG and say you're the reason we're not getting a GTA 6. You keep buying it, GTA 5 over and over.
I couldn't give a shit about GTA 6. So keep that in the oven as long as you want. So
maybe in 10 years' time, give it another 10 years, we will then look at GTA 6. We don't need it. Why do we need it? GTA 5's perfect.
Because mods like you keep buying it.
It's perfect. I purposely bought another copy of it on a different console just to stick it to someone that was giving me shit about it.
Fair play, you did. You did. That was quite funny, that was.
If I could get it on iPhone, I'd buy it on iPhone as well.
There is versions of GTA on iPhone. I don't know about GTA 5.
No.
The only surprise is that you can't.
It is. It's a bit upsetting, really. You know, I can play Skyrim on my fridge. I can play it on, my pair of socks and what have you, but I can't play Grand Theft Auto 5. It's gutting. We need more copies. We need it on more platforms. We need even better versions.
No, they're a struggling developer. They're not making no money. You support
I feel sorry for him. I do feel sorry for him.
But so that's good to hear, Scott. So I've been playing for a week or so ago. I completed As Dusk Falls, which is a very good game. Have you had a chance to get to that yet, Luke? Have you got to that yet?
No, I've played. I played some, but not a lot. It didn't. I need to give it a bit more of a chance. It didn't grab me in the 20 minutes or so that I played, but I'll give it a chance. I'll come round. I'll get to it.
That's fair enough. I always have to point it out when I complete a game, because people tell me I don't complete games. Very often I don't, to be fair. But because I called it a very weird game. I was speaking to Indie Gamer about it and telling him what I thoughts on that in the DMs. He says, "Well, actually, that's what you've been telling me. It's enticed me, and it is quite a compelling story." Because I obviously don't want to spoil it, but I played it from like a parent role, and in the end, I had to go back and change decisions that I'd done, basically. And at one point, it makes you feel really bad when something happens. But I've never had a game where the decisions that you make affect the gameplay, and that's what grabbed me about the game. I've never had that before. I believe, it's a really good game. I just don't want to mention too much to spoil it for others that haven't played it. I know you've played it, Scott, haven't you? Did you like it?
Yeah, I played it shortly after release, and Indy in the chat, me, Indy, Mav, and Sagnos, we actually had like a little spoiler cast on it a couple of weeks back, which was a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed it. If I'm being honest, I think it was like the perfect length, sort of that 5 to 6 hours for that type of game, and I really enjoyed the story that was told, and probably the most important aspect was just how your choices had meaning throughout. Every sort of choice felt like it meant something. And when we were chatting about it, it was really interesting because we all had obviously similar stories in some respects, but kind of very different in a lot of others, which was really cool.
Yeah, it's the genre. Are games like that becoming more popular to make? Is it, or just have I just missed out on a lot of games like it? Because I've not seen many games where it's a game where you make decisions and it affects the outcome of the game. Is this becoming a trend now?
Detroit Become Human?
Yeah, I mean, you've got all the
Is that-
David Cage games, so Detroit, Beyond, what's the other ones?
Fahrenheit.
Heavy Rain, Fahrenheit.
right,
and then
so I've missed loads.
And then I mean, I don't know what hovel you've been living under, where like you've had all the Telltale series, like all of the various Telltale games, which are exactly Until Dawn, all the Supermassive games, very similar.
There's one. There is one I've played that's like that. It's on Xbox. They gave it away 3 ages ago.
Man of Medan?
No. It was a little. It's what's the bloody game called? It's like Stranger Things, but it's not by that developer. Don't Nod made it. Don't Nod made it. Is it Don't Nod? Don't Nod made it.
They did Stranger Things.
I know what you mean. I played that as well, Stubbs.
I can't think of the name.
It was the one with the trans character.
Yes,
if you remember rightly.
Yes.
Oh, what the bloody hell was that? Don't lie or something. Did it have lie in it?
Yeah, it had lie.
There you go. Yeah. Indy's just put it in chat. Life is Strange. That's the one.
No, it was a different game. It was.
I'm just trying to find it.
I know which one you mean. I actually really enjoyed that one as well.
Because my wife actually.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
It's called. That's
yeah. We got there in the
end. At one point, they did give it away free to everybody. At one point, I'm sure
it was on Game Pass.
Game Pass, yeah.
It was, but I also own it. They did actually give it away for free. People that at some point, I'm sure they did. But that was a good game. So sorry, I'm wrong. I have played a game like that before.
Yeah,
but it's probably because
so what they did, Stubbs. I think they gave away the first chapter.
That's probably
so. I think the first chapter became free to play or something like that, and then you would have to pay to play the other chapters. But the full thing was in Game Pass at least. So
I think it still is. But yeah, it is similar to Life is Strange. You're correct, indie gamer. So I have played games like that, and just not many. So I need to play more games like this. It's good.
Well, Man of Medan's on Game Pass. You can play that. The first one in the Dark Pictures anthology. That's Supermassive. That's in there.
Yeah. I'll go and play maybe Detroit. Something like that. It's probably on PS subscription services. Yeah.
It is. It's in the extra tier and premium tier.
Well, I live under a rock, like Indie Gamer says. I do. Welcome to Save the Game Media. I believe that's the Muffin Mum. Welcome. No. Thanks for popping in.
Yeah, but that Dusk Falls, I got bored after it for about 20 minutes.
I've heard a lot of people say this. I listened to XEP, with Luke Law and Tippy Ghost, and he couldn't get into it. He played an hour of it and he couldn't get into it. And a lot of people loved it. Some people just couldn't get into it. And
I think you need to give more than 20 minutes, though. Like,
yeah,
it's a game that lives and dies by its story, and you can't. you need to give it a little bit more time than that, realistically, to kind of understand where it's going.
Well, Luke's used to that kind of thing. How long does it take till Death Stranding kicks off, Luke?
Oh, how long does it take? I don't know.
It still hasn't.
It still hasn't.
We're still waiting.
Ongoing. Yeah. No, Death Stranding takes quite a while to get going. I'd say maybe about 2 hours before you're actually into the meat and bone. It's a Kojima game, so
people keep saying it takes 20 hours to get into it. So I hear online.
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember seeing some comments like that actually when it came out, and I guess I kind of understand it, but it's not true.
It's a game I want to try.
It's a great game.
My PC would not be able to play that at all. No chance.
It's BMG knows it's a great game. It's mental, but it's a Kojima game, and I think it's really different.
Awesome on PS5.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great.
Love to remind me. You lot love in the WhatsApp. They love to every so often remind me that how good their PS5 is. That I haven't got one.
It's you need to get a hold of one, and then or get a PC capable of playing Death Stranding. Because it's brilliant.
What's good about it, Luke?
What's good about Death Stranding? Everything's good about Death Stranding. I think there's a lot of things that are good about it, but I think, first of all, I think with Kojima's stories, they're kind of really strange a lot of the time, but that makes them really memorable. And I think if you're into his type of storytelling, which is kind of this serious but kind of offbeat drama, then it's just that, but in a really unique setting. I think that's the one thing Death Stranding does better than most games, is it really nails having a very weird setting with a weird background and context to the world. And I think that's quite engaging. It won't be engaging for everyone, but for me it was, in the same way that Metal Gear is like that as well. And then I think the gameplay is really, really good. And I think it's really good because, again, it isn't like other games, and it does things that are, that you just don't see. It has a kind of loop, really, a gameplay loop that no other game has at all. And for some people, I think it will really grate on them in terms of, and it did, when it released. For some people, they just really bounced off it hard. I saw that, and you saw that in the reviews where people were giving it, you had tons of people giving it 10 out of 10, saying it's a masterpiece, and then other people were 6 out of 10, didn't like it. So, I think for me, the gameplay looks just really cool, and going around the world, and a lot of the mechanics are based around how you traverse, which is different. It's not a combat-focused game. There is combat, and the combat can be really good at times, but it's not really about that. It's more about kind of making deliveries. That sounds to some people really boring, and I get that, but they, I think you need to play it to see if you think that's boring, because I think what Death Stranding does really well is every game now, it's because it's an open world game, right? So every open world game typically has, you go from point A to point B, and the point is that when you get to point B, C happens, and you engage in that. And the act of traversing between point A and point B is just it's whatever, nobody cares, because you're just going. The whole, Death Stranding is all about what happens between point A and point B. It's here's point A where you start, here's point B. The meat of the game is in between the two. It's not really about your destination. It's about actually how you go on the journey and the tools you take with you, what you might encounter along the way. It makes that traversal the game, really. And then lots of batshit crazy stuff happens in it because it's a Kojima game. There's some really awesome kind of set pieces and boss battles and all of that stuff, and it gets increasingly ridiculous, but that's kind of the meat of the game is, right, you know, you have to make a delivery from point A to point B, and how are you going to do that? And it's just like weird mechanics, like having to, you know, balance yourself as you walk if you've got a heavy load, and then you come across a ravine. You know, how do you get across that ravine? Because, you know, you're not like a super agile, amazing. You know, you're like a normal person. So how do you do that? So, and then there are camps, there are enemy camps. That, you know, you can engage in combat. There's vehicles. There's all that sort of stuff. It's great. It's great. Yeah.
Well, I remember watching Giant Bomb did a quick look, I think, or some sort of video on it at the time, and I think it was Alex Navarro who was doing it, and this bit really stands out. And like, obviously, I messed with it. I've not played the game, so I can't say anything about it really. From what I've seen, I can say it doesn't really appeal to us. But there was one bit where he was doing the traversal, and he had like a load of stuff on his backpack, and like he walked into a wall and just everything fell off, and he was just like, oh fuck, and he just had to he was trying to pick everything back up, and he kept bumping into it, and I was just like, oh nah, I don't think that's free. But maybe I'll check it out. I've got no excuses to at least maybe try it. But then I looked it up on how long to beat, and I didn't realize it, like, completionist times was like 120 hours or something silly like that. Not that I would ever go for 100% on any game.
No, I think start to finish it took me about 30 hours.
That's not too bad then.
Including some side stuff, you know. But yeah, I mean, the thing is as well, I think, and I saw this in a lot of the video reviews that came out, or people that did review it, is that they just didn't really pay attention to a lot of the mechanics, and a lot of things are explained to you in the game. So like that one, for example, like I presume the guy had like a ridiculous amount of stuff.
Yeah, it was like another like meter or two above his head. So it was a silly amount.
Either he's like an idiot, or he's just doing it for a laugh, because the game, you know, it makes clear that you can't, like, you have to balance your weight, and like you can't just carry like 150 kilos on your back, and if you do, like, you might tip out of balance a lot and drop stuff, you know. But it's like stuff like that's quite funny. Like I did it, not like a huge load like that, but walked across what I thought was like a very shallow stream, and I had quite a lot, and I was like, you know what, I'll chance it rather than put a ladder across. And of course it was deeper than I thought, and it knocked my character over, and all the packages fell off. But of course it's all physics based, so they went down the stream, so I'm there like getting back up, like running alongside to get my packages. Luckily they all coalesced at a rock at the bottom. But like stuff like that may sound like so boring, or like inane, or just like not interesting, but when you're playing it, that's really interesting. Like the very few games would make that whole sequence interesting. They just wouldn't even put it in the game. So I really found that really cool. You know, if you get stuck down a cliff face, you know, you've got to work out how to get back up. You can't just like jump, or you know, it's all about your tools. It's so weird. The director's cut, it's a shame the director's cut isn't coming to PC, because I think that takes a lot of the stuff that might have been frustrating for people. It doesn't take it out of the game, but it gives you extra tools to be able to like automate some of this stuff, or make it easier, so you can focus on different things. But it's great. I don't know what BMG thinks. I think he enjoyed it, if you finished it. But
no, I'm still on with it. I am still on with Death Stranding, but the best three things in Death Stranding is you've got Jeff Keighley's in it.
Oh dear.
You've got Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Oh, is he really?
Mads Mikkelsen.
Jeff Keighley's in it. Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen, and you get to see Norman Reedus in the buff. What more do you need in a game?
There you go.
But it's fun, especially on the director's cut, like the PS5 version, because you've got the haptics and the adaptive triggers and things all play a part in it as well.
Can I ask you a question about that with the controller? Because back in the PS4 heyday...
Hang on. Let me get it first. This controller.
Does the game... Does any noises come out of the controller for this game?
Yes.
Do you hear a baby coming from your controller?
Yes. It's annoying.
You can.
It's very annoying. a crying baby coming from your controller is so annoying.
They do use that because
Yeah.
on the PS4 they used to do it all the time with games.
Oh, you have to rock your controller. You have to it's like
Yeah.
and you have to,
See, Luke,
Oh, hold on,
Luke
hold on.
missed that.
You're not taking the piss when you say that.
No, I'm not.
No,
Oh,
you have to do that. That's a mechanic, yeah.
I'm out again.
That is a mechanic in the game.
Hey, Luke missed
Holy
that part
shit.
out when he was telling you he was hyping it up to you.
I think for good reason as well, because that's pretty ridiculous. Obviously, those
take
things
long.
will be sort of those will be things that you won't have to necessarily interact with, because I guess even on the PC, there's no speaker on PC. There's no gyro in other controllers, so I guess have to be.
They must have tweaked
ways
it
to
on
work around
PC.
it,
Yeah.
You don't request
you don't
it.
want
We need that in there.
Yeah, you've got to rock the controller, calm baby down, get him nice and chilled. Otherwise, you attract some horrible things.
Yeah, the BTs. You have to hold your breath.
Yeah,
That's a mechanic. Yeah, that's an actual.
Like Jeff Keighley did.
No blowing into the controller, I don't think.
No, not yet. Not yet. No.
Not yet.
that's a mechanic for the sequel, obviously.
Yeah. But I know the Mads Mikkelsen bits actually. Anytime he's in it, it's particularly great. There's some really great sequences that are visually super cool when that stuff kicks off, and yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely worth playing. You've got to. I tell you, you'll have a hell of a lot more respect for your Amazon delivery driver anyway. You just go out and shake his hand and give him a hug.
And the social stuff as well, the asynchronous multiplayer stuff. That's just like a super cool thing that it does. Again, a really unique mechanic. But I think the problem is, you can absolutely look like the bit I get annoyed about is people just look at it and go, just that looks shit, or don't want to play that, or whatever. And I think it's really, really, really a game you have to play.
Yeah.
And now there's now it's on PC Game Pass. Like you don't have to spend anything to do so. So I think try it and then give it an hour or two, and if you're really bouncing off it, I think that's fair. But after that,
really,
it's his ultimate form, BMG.
Well, I tell you something. If this carries on, this guy here is going to end up losing one of his legs, and we're going to cut it off. I was going to post him all over my town. Damn Sonic. No, but it's definitely a game worth playing. Oh, sorry.
Welcome to Cadillacs. Nice to see you. Sorry, carry on.
No, it's Death Stranding's definitely a game worth playing. If it's, if you're looking forward to Sonic Frontiers, but you want a game with a bit more excitement, go Death Stranding. But if you have got PC, if you have got Game Pass, why not try it? If you've already got Game Pass Ultimate, you're not paying any extra for having it on the PC. It's worth playing. It's never going to come to console, so if you're waiting to thinking it's going to come to the console, that's never going to happen. And I can't remember who I saw the conversation with. I can't remember if it was Stubbs.
It was me. I got it wrong on Twitter. Then
was it the IP? Who actually owns the Death Stranding IP? Yeah,
then basically what it is technically the IP is owned by Sony, obviously. But then Scott corrected me with an article because I went on Twitter, not realizing that Sony ain't responsible for publishing it on PC. They've got nothing to do with it. That's right, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's like as straightforward as they don't have anything to do with it. Obviously, they do own the IP, but the game's published by 505 Games on PC. So I imagine Sony were involved in whatever agreement was drawn up to allow 505 to publish it on PC. But essentially, the statement from SIE was just like, look, we're not involved. So the assumption has to be that particular agreement just allows 505 to kind of do what they want with it on PC. Yeah, I guess
It
it's
was
kind of a similar
probably-
situation to the MLB, isn't it? I know it's slightly different circumstances, but the game on Xbox and other platforms is published by MLB directly, so the MLB can, as the publisher of the game on that platform, can kind of choose what to do with it. I suspect so.
Well, yeah, I think. Well, with MLB, I think they seem. What's it called? Sorry, it's like I think with the way they expanded MLB onto Xbox. I think this whole FIFA situation. I think FIFA looked at MLB and seen what they were doing, and I think FIFA just tried to get more money from EA, but EA weren't having it. Were they?
It's not worth it because it's like, I know the FIFA's the name, it's the name FIFA, but don't they still have to go to like all the teams to kind of buy the licenses to use their likenesses?
So
and
what
their
they're
team
doing
names?
so what
Anyway.
they're doing for this whole new game is when it ends is they've got agreements with all the football teams, etc. Anyway, but I've heard, and you guys know that there is someone's bidded for the new FIFA game, and there's other companies going to be making a new game. Is that right? There's going to be another company.
Not to my knowledge, Stubbs. I'm going to assume that they will be. I don't think there's anything publicly to say that somebody's acquired like the FIFA name licensing. But you're right. So essentially, there's different organizations that represent like the teams and players. So I believe it's FIF Pro or FIF Pro or something similar to that, who essentially represent the players who EA continue to have agreements with, which will allow them to use like player names or player likeness and things like that. And there'll be similar agreements for like clubs. If you've ever played like football manager games or championship manager back in the day, like I spent far too many hours on, you remember at the time, there was I think even now, Man United and teams like that, then their likeness, club badge and things like that aren't used in the game because they don't have the license. And obviously Pro Evo had that issue as well. Yeah. So EA are going to continue to have like club names and player likeness and player names and things like that. It's not like we're going to go back to like Manchester Red and Manchester Blue, like the Pro Evo days. But the game's going to be called EA Sports FC rather than FIFA. I don't think anyone's, like I say, got the license of FIFA, but then realistically, who's going to cough up that much money?
But also, what you got to think about is, pretty much EA have got the game. I don't play the football game, but I imagine the game's pretty much nearly perfect when you play it.
Nope.
So
it's absolutely shite.
No? Okay.
FIFA 22 is the worst FIFA I've played in a long time.
Isn't FIFA 22 just FIFA 21 with a coat of paint on it or whatever?
No, it's FIFA 21, but worse.
Oh, right, okay.
So, yeah.
It's because you're not spending enough in microtransactions.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I used to go on the black market for FIFA points a while ago, where you could buy FIFA points for dirt cheap. Not anymore. I don't tend to touch like the Ultimate Team stuff because it's completely pay to win. But when you look at the argument around like, oh, it's a ripoff or anything like that, just look at how much EA are making from microtransactions. And essentially what FIFA turned around and said is, well, look, we want a bigger cut of that humongous pie you've got there that's generating you billions of dollars a year. We want a bit more of that. So it's greed from both sides. I don't think FIFA are necessarily the only ones that are being greedy in that particular argument. But the fact of the matter is they've kind of priced themselves out of agreements with other publishers. Realistically, how many other publishers can afford a $1 billion licensing deal outside of EA?
Microsoft.
But Microsoft going to develop a football game?
No. I hope not.
I'm just saying they could afford it.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, Stubbs. They've kind of really limited their opportunity to kind of leverage their own brand name because, they're either going to have to sell it for dead well, not dead cheap, it'll obviously be expensive, but much cheaper than what they probably would have got from EA had they come to some sort of compromise to another publisher. I can't imagine Konami would be interested in rebranding Pro Evo, or now what is eFootball, to FIFA. I can't imagine them being interested in it. So they're the only 2 football games on the market. So what they're going to do, and I don't know if you remember at the time, but the head of FIFA, I can't remember his name, but he released an unbelievably hilarious statement after the fact where he talked about how the next FIFA game will absolutely be the best FIFA game, despite the fact that they had no one developing that game. So
yeah. Well, it was one of them things in life where you take a big risk, and it did not pay off for FIFA, did it? It didn't.
No.
And they didn't back down and say, well, actually, we're going to reverse this decision, because I bet EA gave them time, but they're like, no, we're not backing down. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I honestly think the most likely outcome is if EA Sports FC gets rebranded again to FIFA in a couple of years, because I suspect EA will see some value in the FIFA branding. EA Sports FC is like a really shit name for a game, in my opinion. So I suspect once the dust is settled and once FIFA realise that there's nobody else that's going to take the branding off them, there will probably be some sort of a agreement again between the two to get that naming back. But we'll have to see.
EA will get it for less. They've been nearly begging them, please take our brand. No one else wants it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, FIFA aren't a particularly public opinion of FIFA isn't particularly high, particularly as we go into kind of the Winter World Cup in Qatar. So they probably could do with having some good word about their branding out there, and they now don't even have the games to fall back on. So, yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to mention I've been playing Hades because Indie Gamer's been mentioning it. I have started Hades. The graphics are it's quite a nice art style. I can't say much about it because I've not played it for very long. Just give my thoughts on it. I died twice so far, so just got to change his picture again.
I thought BMG might have been a shadow kind of guy. I think that might be the problem.
You know, he's got he had all these pictures saved up for tonight, and he's just going to keep changing them throughout the show.
Oh, there's a couple more to go. Don't worry, there's a couple more to go.
Yeah. I should have expected it, really. But no, anything to do with Sonic is just like nails on a chalkboard. You know, it's just like it shouldn't exist anymore. I'd sooner play E.T. for the rest of my life than have to look or hear sort of Sonic ever again.
Fair enough. But yeah, Hades, I obviously gave it a little go. I've died twice. I'm not obviously used to roguelikes. Last roguelike I played was Spelunky 2. And I must have died 50, 60 odd times in that game. It's pretty hardcore roguelike, that one is. I'm presuming Luke's completed it because he's nodding his head. Have you played Spelunky 2 or Spelunky 1?
Oh no! Well, I've played Spelunky 1 and a bit of Spelunky 2, but I was more nodding for the Hades stuff.
Oh, okay.
Which I have die a lot more than 50 or 60 times in Hades.
Yeah,
probably.
I imagine so. I will, because I always struggle with them because I hate it, but I end up quitting in the end. I do, but I'm hoping that I don't with this because UK Dazarus can complete it pretty well. He can. And as Daz says, he literally is the one-handed stick and he can complete it. So I should be able to.
I don't know why anyone plays them. Why does anyone play a game that purposely tortures you and pays for it? You know, there's another thing out there that you can do and not have to do it in a game and pay for it if you want to be abused and, you know, it's
part of the progression, BMG. That's part of the process.
Right?
You cannot say that. There is absolutely progression. That's the whole point in it. You die and you come back stronger, and you do it again, and then die again, but you come back stronger again. That's the entire loop.
Twice, to be fair, I am stronger now. So it is working. I'm going to play it more and more and keep everyone up to date with my progress, especially Goat Force Gaming and everyone else, and Indie Gamer. I will get there, but
and then when you get your PS5, you can go on Returnal, and then you can experience true roguelike pain. According to most people, anyway.
I've deleted it because I've literally, if I didn't, I think I would smash my DualSense up. It made me that mad.
It's so strange, actually, because when it came out, I forgot to say, Scott. When Returnal came out, like a month later, there was like a load of people that had finished it.
No.
Wow. There's a load of people that finished it, and then there was a load of people that were like, I didn't even get past like the first biome, like really struggled. And like I played it, and I think I finished it in about 18 hours ish. And it was challenging, but I didn't struggle with it, I wouldn't say at any point, apart from maybe the final biome. I only died to a boss. I think there's maybe 5 or 6 bosses. I only died to a boss more than once on one occasion, and that was I died twice to that boss. But I think for some people, like the bullet hell element, they just like could not get on, like they just could not get to grips with it at all. Because I think like Hades, a lot of roguelikes are either 2D or isometric like Hades, and I think maybe it's a bit easier for some people just to exist in that environment and play it and survive than it is in Returnal, where it's like a 3D bullet hell, get all these bullet hell elements. So some people really struggle with it. So I don't blame you, BMG, because I know it's not an easy game.
I don't think I got out the very first area bit because I died. The area changed, went back out, died again. The area changed, and I went, you know what? I don't think we should play this game. It's not good for my hair. My hair.
This was BMG's exact words. No, fuck this. I'm done. That was his exact words.
To be fair, there'll be moments like that in Hades. Stubbs. I do remember that game is difficult. You will get moments like that. I think.
I get moments. But to be fair though, BMG, Luke is a pretty hardcore. He can complete pretty hard games. He can with ease. He can.
Well, I don't know about with ease, but I persevere.
I'm all about.
Don't get angry at games, most likely. Some people don't get angry, but I do.
Yeah, no, I don't get angry with them.
No, I like it easy.
Life's harder than a roguelite.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate roguelite, except you only get one life.
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, my God.
He has been planning this. I can tell.
You've got to like Knuckles. It's Idris Elba. Everyone loves Idris Elba.
Who's that? Oh,
the actor. Idris Elba. Yeah. He voices Knuckles in the movies.
Does he really?
Yeah.
I just can't imagine his voice with that character.
Yeah.
No.
Got one more for you. Oh. One more for you, BMG, and I promise that's the last of them. I promise. No, I could have gone really weird and gone down the Sonic character rabbit hole and got like I can't remember the names, but there's like Big the Cat and characters like that. But I'll save you the suffering for.
I remember they did a freaky cartoon years ago that was giving children nightmares where they were like teenagers with long legs or something like that. Years and years ago. I think it might have been back in the 90s or early 2000s. Ooh. It was proper. It gave kids nightmares. It was that bad. Was
that not just the original Sonic design from the most recent movie?
I have no idea. I tell you, I have actually played a Sonic game, believe it or not, that I didn't actually enjoy, but it wasn't for Sonic. Do you remember Sonic Adventures that came out for the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And you got obviously the Dreamcast controller.
Got the
and you got
VMU.
that big bloody memory card / screen thing.
Yeah.
Right. I was obsessed with getting the little things and putting them in the machine to put them into that, and then you could have
the Chow Garden.
He had his virtual pet. That was all I enjoyed as Sonic was having.
Yeah, I loved the Chow Garden in Sonic Adventure. Like, I don't know what you guys are like, but I used to love Tamagotchis as a kid.
Same.
So I think they're making a bit of a comeback these days. But the VMU on the Dreamcast for Sonic Adventure and the Chow Garden was essentially just like your a Tamagotchi that you could play in 3D, essentially. I absolutely loved the Chow Garden. I remember back in the day looking up like the guys and how to get the different chows, like the evil chows and things like that. So used
to be obsessed with them, the Tamagotchi, and I also had the Digimon one, the battle one. It was in the.
I never had that one.
Yeah, it was like you could choose between red and blue, sorry, and it was like a little brick wall with a screen in, and if you were to fight someone else with your Digimon, as he was, like evolving and making them stronger or fighting, you had to actually plug them into each other, so you both stood there close fighting.
I never did that. I used to love the VMUs. I remember Skies of Arcadia was one of my favorite Dreamcast games, and that had a really cool like mini game on the VMU that I remember playing. So
yeah, they were the best kind of memory cards you could have was them things. I think the game I enjoyed the most on the Dreamcast that me and my uncle used to play as kids, pretty much the same age as me, was Toy Commander on the Dreamcast. Absolutely, I don't know if you remember that one. It's pretty much like a bit like that game that's advertised at the moment they're trying to bring to Xbox. A bit like that.
Yeah.
Where it's toys, but you're in vehicles. You're having a plane, a helicopter, a car, and you're like trying to destroy each other's base while all the toys are everywhere and these pencil guns.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, that was always my favorite game on the Dreamcast.
I'll have to look that game up because I've got a Dreamcast.
You know what it is? I've looked at a couple of times buying a Dreamcast again, like and modding it for like to have like because you can mod them now to give them like HDMI output. You can modify them to have like hard drives.
All the games are on it as well. You can.
Yeah, but then really a lot of the games that you want to play, you can kind of just buy now for modern.
Well, I do have a sealed copy. I think it should. I'm with my Dreamcast, which should still be in my mum's loft from years ago. A sealed copy is Shenmue 2.
Sealed copy?
Sealed. I never opened it. I bought it, but I never played it. It was just one of them because whatever was going on at the time. I think we got another console and everything just kind of got put away with the Dreamcast and forgot about, if you will. But yeah, it's actually still sealed in the cellophane. If my mum hasn't chucked it on a car boot and sold it for £1 or something like that.
It should be worth a bit because in the UK, the retro game scene is all fabrication. That's why all the prices are sky high. It's all the retro dealers fabricating the prices high. They shouldn't be as high as they are. I've got friends in the scene, and they said that he sold stuff before and had actual threatening messages on eBay telling him to put his prices up. You'll devalue my collection. It's all fabricated. A lot of it's fabricated. The prices are.
I've never. That is like I say. That's new to me. You know, being death threats for being so cheap.
Well, not death threats. Just like asking to put the prices up. But it's true.
Yeah.
It is what they're doing in the UK.
Yeah.
Prices
It does make.
Well, if you remember the copy of Mario that sold for like a record, like sale of a video game, was linked to fraud. At the time when that went for absolutely obscene amount of money.
Wow.
I don't know if anyone listens to Jeff Gersman, but he spoke about it at the time because he's obviously got a humongous collection of games, and he speaks about it from time to time about the value of some of them, like when he's looked them up, and Yeah, I remember him speaking about it at the time, but I believe that was considered to be a little bit underhand, maybe.
I've still got
Fair enough.
the original Nintendo with the. Do you remember the bazooka they did? The red bazooka with the grey on it. Do you remember that? It came. You could buy it as a. Was it Nintendo? Was it Super Nintendo? It might have been Super Nintendo. I've got them both still. I had the original gun for Duck Hunt for the Nintendo. I think it was Super Nintendo had the bazooka because you could buy it in it. It was a package that came with the console, the game, the bazooka. It was like a big long box. God, what was it? What was the game for? I can't remember the game for it. It was used for like a couple of games. The robot. I've got the robot. You know, the little robot that didn't do anything? The Nintendo robot. I've got that.
That's not ringing any bells, that, mate.
Let me see if I can find a picture. If you Google
Indie Gamer,
Nintendo
sorry.
robot.
Oh, yeah. Indie Game. I probably said it wrong. Basically, in the retro market in the UK, a lot of the retro collectors are inflating the prices of all the retro games and retro consoles, so it's not cheap to keep their retro collections expensive. If you go to other countries, it's cheaper. It's just something they're doing. That's all. That's what they're doing to keep the prices high. It's not a widely reported thing, but it is happening. It is. That's all. So you can't get out cheap anymore unless you go to a car boot sale and
right.
Someone hasn't got a clue what they're selling.
I don't know if you can see this. It might be a bit blurry actually. But if you Google
the eye
robot,
bit,
there you go.
Yeah. I do recognize that, mate.
Came with a Nintendo.
That.
Yeah. I've got one. I've still got one of them somewhere. Hopefully, I've still got one of them somewhere. Yeah, it came from the original Nintendo. Did that?
You need to go and investigate this, BMG. You got to get in that attic and check.
Yeah. It came with it came as like a package. We got the robot, the console, the gun, and it played there was 2 or 3 games that it works with, and then other than that, it was like the Power Glove. It was useless. Yeah, God, yeah, that is going back a bit. Did anyone watch that? The new what do you call it? The Monkey King thing. What's it? I can't remember the name of the game. They just released 2 new trailers.
Wukong.
That's it. Yeah.
I've not seen a new trailer.
Like Myth.
Last trailer was cool.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dropped no release date or anything like that, but dropped a new trailer for it. Absolutely no real proper gameplay, I don't think, but still looks absolutely amazing.
It does.
I think they did. No, go on.
Sorry, Luke. There's not many devs making that game, though, is there? At all. It's a very small team, I believe. It is.
Oh, it's not going to come out anytime soon.
I think they dropped. Something like a cutscene trailer, which was like 6-7 minutes. But they also dropped another 8-minute gameplay demo on Nvidia's YouTube channel.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so that had some new gameplay in it. So I haven't seen the cutscene one, but I did see the gameplay one. And it looks it looks really good. I mean, visually, certainly, it looks really, really impressive. I'm not sure how well it's going to play or what it's going to be like to play, but certainly it's running on UE5 and it looks really nice visually.
Well, I haven't seen this one in question, but the first one I've seen looked impressive. So after the show, I have to go and have a look for it.
Have a look. Yeah. So I think it was like yesterday. Yesterday it dropped. But it looks good. It's not a game I'd normally play, but it kind of piqued my interest, so it's something I want to try. Yeah. Hopefully, Game Pass or PlayStation Extra. Go with either one. I'm not bothered. We'll go, but it'd be definitely worth a try. I'm looking forward to playing it eventually when it comes out, the next 5 years.
Yeah,
no time soon.
What do you reckon to Embracer Group swooping at more companies? Then, do you reckon about that? They're unstoppable. They're an unstoppable machine, aren't they? Keep going. Today.
How do they get away with it though? Because it's like,
So what it is it's a very complicated company. How it works, all their companies. This is only my understanding of it. I watch videos on it. It's completely complex. They don't all buy them under Embracer, even though Embracer actually says that they buy them under, like, they've got their own THQ. They buy them under them, but all the companies within it, they buy them through the developers that other publishers have bought, and it's very confusing. That Microsoft will just buy it under Microsoft, but obviously, like with Embracer, they buy it under their parent companies too, but it's all connected to Embracer.
yeah, but surely though the EU, FTC, and all that aren't stupid and not they know it's all one company still, whether they're buying it.
Yeah, they will, but it's just the way it's structured. But
they can do it. They can still do it.
Well, Luke will probably know more about that, but it's very dodgy how they do it. It is.
It's not actually. It's just standard. No, it's just the standard holding. So Embracer Group. Yeah. I think it's probably Embracer Group Limited. That's a Swedish company because that's where Embracer are from. That's a holding company. A holding company doesn't do anything apart from it holds assets. So you have Embracer Group right at the top. You'll have various owners above that, etc. And then, as you said, it has it owns 11, I think it's 11 or 12, something like that, other companies, Embracer. And, for example, one of those is THQ, and another one is Saber, for example. Another one's Gearbox, etc. And then beneath those, there are also multiple different entities. But it all ties back up to Embracer. But you're right in that most of the time it's actually, or some of the time at least, it's actually a different entity within the group that's acquiring, some other company. But that, for the purposes of a look, I mean, if you're talking about competition stuff, then, you have a complete look-through basis. So it's not as if you look at, okay, what does THQ Nordic own and evaluate whether that has some competition effect because it buys X. You look at the whole group, because when you do any competition application, you actually have to give the regulator an entire structure chart of, your entire operation. So the reason they get away with it, I mean, it's not really, the term getting away with it is because the acquisitions they're making are really small. They're making a lot of them. But, there are so many, I mean, God knows how many, game development companies there are in the world, but there are probably tens and tens of thousands of them, if not more. And, if Embracer, I mean, who did they buy the other day? They bought, I think, for example, they bought Tripwire, right, that makes Killing Floor. Limited Run. These are nothing, as in, they're good studios, but it's not as if they're, particularly special relative to another studio. They're just a very, very, very tiny part of a massive, massive development market. So, it's easy for Embracer to buy, and it's easy for any company to go out and buy, Microsoft included, to go out and buy, Microsoft tomorrow bought 10 game studios, individual developers. You're probably not even going to have to report that for competition purposes. It's not going to hit thresholds in relevant markets. So, if Tripwire, what's their revenue? I don't know, but it's nothing relative to what you'd have to declare to the EU, for example, in terms of turnover. So, it's just easy for them, they've gone about it in a cool way. Now, if someone inquires Embracer, no doubt they'd need some competition advice.
Now, Luke,
not that I think they will, but
that's one thing I've always heard about Embracer, that they are building up, and their end game is big acquisition ticket price. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I've heard about Embracer.
Well, who's going to buy them, Stubbs?
I don't know. I'm just telling you what people think that's going to happen.
Yeah, because if you look at them, it's not just like they're strictly a video game company.
They're into more.
No, I'm not saying they have to be in order to. Say again, sorry.
Didn't they buy Lord of the Rings and all that now? Is that was part of this recent acquisition, weren't it?
Yeah, some of the IP or something like that, as in some of the gaming IP.
I think they even own the rights for film, comics, and things like that. It's pretty much everything, isn't it?
But they own the rights to the TV series to do a TV show. Is it only if it's so many episodes and the actual Tolkien estate? If it's over, is it over 4 episodes that they can still make a TV show? And that's the deal they've got with Amazon. That's through the Tolkien estate.
Oh,
yeah, I'd seen something to do with the number, depending on the number of episodes, of if the Tolkien estate can actually lease out the license to do a TV show. But other than that, if it's below a certain amount of episodes, it falls to now Embracer, as well as the films, comics, books, T-shirts. Get yourself some Hobbit feet things.
Yeah, I mean, they said, I just saw it here, that the 5 acquisitions they made totaled about $577 million in upfront cost.
Also, Luke, I'll add on to that, because me and BMG were talking about it. Now, the one they won't say anything about, the fee for that isn't included. There's something they keep hush about.
There is. Yeah, for commercial reasons, they've not disclosed it, but they said that the purchase price for that is in the range of being amongst either 3rd or 4th largest of those transactions.
Oh, okay.
Oh, was
so
it?
For
I'd see when they said the third or 4th biggest transaction, I thought that meant out of anything they've ever bought, as in.
Oh no! Yeah, it was within the 6 total. Well, the 5 other transactions they've also made.
Oh, okay.
So it falls somewhere within the middle of those in terms of size.
So it's not big like we think it is. So.
No.
It may be Stubbs.
I don't know. I don't know really. I'm not thinking Sega. If that's what you're thinking.
No.
I guess that gets me ranting. That does. No one's buying them.
Can't even give that company away.
Sega Sammy doesn't want to give it away. It does very well. It does.
See, that's why, because obviously I was thinking, if it was like the 3rd or 4th, I thought they meant as in as a company whole of what they've bought. I was thinking it was going to be somewhere like the other side of like Square Enix or Capcom, something like that. But if it's obviously the transactions of those things that they've bought, then obviously it's got to be somewhat a lot smaller. Just because obviously it's going to be nothing big. So why, for commercial reasons, what commercially would they have to withhold that for?
They've created hype around it now. They're saying it. Might not be, no.
Yeah. It's just weird. It's just something I've never heard of, obviously, because it's public with what they've gone with. But yeah, we announced withholding one for commercial reasons. It's like, well, what? Why? I want to know. I've got to know.
Yeah, it's probably just that they're not at a place where they've exchanged contracts, so they're not ready to actually announce it, because they won't do it until they get to that point. Okay. Or it's in the midst of actually still completing. So, but they, because Embracer are listed on, I think they're listed on NASDAQ, so they have to kind of give as much outward information as they can about their purchases, and I think it just looks good if they can say, oh, by the way, we've got another company that we're in the midst of acquiring, but we're not ready commercially to announce that yet, but that'll be soon. So that's probably the only reason they're doing it. But yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting who it is. I mean, it'd probably be someone we have heard of, albeit it won't be, earth-shattering news. But it could be anyone. Could be anyone.
I'm on the website now. Currently, it's, I presume, without these acquisitions talking about, they've got. You were right, Luke. They've got 11 operating groups, 120 internal studios, 850 IPs owned or controlled, and 13,800 employees.
Yeah,
a lot of people to look after that. Is
big company, very big company.
It's a good job. Saudis just gave them a load of money, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who do you think Embracer's biggest acquisition is? Out of interest, BMG. I'll come to you first, just since you were talking about it.
Out of everything they bought so far, I'd say buying Middle Earth Enterprises and having the Lord of the Rings IP is the biggest thing they've got, because having all
in terms of purchase price.
Oh, purchase price. I don't even know how much this. Oh God, I have no idea. I don't even know how much they actually spent individually on these companies, if I'm honest.
So they spent. I'm just looking at Wikipedia here, so obviously take this with a grain of salt. But I imagine these are just what they publicly announced during the acquisition. So they bought Gearbox for $1.3 billion.
Wow!
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but that's not their biggest.
Is it not?
Really?
Have you heard of Asmodee?
No.
Asmodee is a French publisher of board games, card games, and role-playing games, and they purchased them for $2.75 billion, apparently.
Oh, right. Never heard of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So really, what they've kind of paid for this recent round of stuff, they've got for literally a steal, like they did with the Square Enix studio.
Square Enix ones. Yeah, relatively. I think if you look at the IP power of Lord of the Rings and Hobbit, if they spent 100 million, let's just say out of the 577, they spent 100 million, 150 million. I mean, it's nothing, isn't it, compared to what you could get out of that IP, out of exploiting it right? Considering they own the IP to everything.
IP at the moment as well, Luke. Particularly in the gaming space as well. If we're just talking about games, I know they've got the TV show coming up, but what was the last big Lord of the Rings? I know we got Gollum coming up, but I think
last big one would have been Shadow of War, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Gordor guy, that Gordor one, the guy that's half elf and half thingy.
Mordor.
That's the one. Mordor, not Gordor. I didn't even realize. I didn't even realize there was Lord of the Rings films.
What?
What? I knew there was a TV series coming.
I've not seen even I know this film.
But I never knew there were films.
What?
Recently,
that is genuinely one of the most outrageous things I've heard in a long time, BMG.
Were you living under that hovel that Stubbs was living under when the Telltale games were coming out? You both just closed your ears. It's like three of the biggest films. I mean, ignore the Hobbit stuff. I mean, they were big as well. But like three of the biggest films ever released, like arguably the biggest film trilogy ever released, and you didn't even know they existed.
I knew there were books. I knew the books existed. I knew there were books, but and I knew there was the games and the upcoming TV series. But it's only recently I discovered there's all these films.
It like transcended. Even if you weren't into films, even if you weren't into Lord of the Rings, like those movies like transcended the medium itself. Like it was like an like event in the world,
a cultural touchstone, like equivalent to like Avengers with Marvel, like that level at the time. That was how big those films were.
But the whole Gandhi gaming thing makes sense now. I've got to watch him. I am going to have to watch him because I like that sort of thing. But I never knew they existed.
What?
I never knew there were films.
Oh my god!
Honestly, BMG, like that is. I don't think I've ever met somebody who didn't know that the Lord of the Rings movies existed.
No, not films. I knew the Tolkien thing. I knew there was games. I never understand any of the reference apart from there was ogre things and the elf guy, half elf guy, and that. And I knew the books, but there's films.
There'll be more people that don't know about the books.
Yeah.
Who's kind of only entry point of the franchise is the films. So knowing about the books, but not about the movies somehow.
I'm just pleased it's not me this time.
Yeah, I think I must have just been sheltered at the time, maybe. But yeah, they've been out for a long time as well. What's all that about?
Yeah, they're about 20-year-old or something almost now. When
really?
Did they start come out early 2000s?
Oh, so they're not recent?
No,
oh my god!
I can't remember. I'm going to have to try and find it.
It was early 2000s. You've got to be it's just a troll, BMG. It's just an elaborate.
I No, I swear, I promise
2001,
you,
yeah.
I only recently discovered, and in fact, when I say recently, it was like a week ago.
But how have you ignored any reference to? Like, I don't understand how you could live your life and just like there would be no touchstone reference to the films. Like nobody in conversation has ever meant. Have you seen the Lord of the Rings films? Do you like the Lord? Just nothing.
Never had the conversations about Lord of the Rings as in films. I always thought it was weird when people used to go, "Oh, Mr. Frodo, sir." It's like, yeah, okay, what? I knew who Frodo was, but I didn't get the voice and everything. And like, oh, it's actually films.
What was it?
Schmeagol stuff.
Yeah,
nothing.
Precious, all that.
Precious, yeah.
I know Gollum from the books, but that's about.
So have you read the books, BMG?
Yes, I've
read. You've read the books and you didn't know. That makes it. How could you? How could you have read the books and not know that there was a movie adaptation?
Not the last one. I've not read the last book. I haven't read the last one yet. But yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know because it's all audio stuff. So, I knew there were books. Somewhere I'll have the actual physical books. But yeah.
So what prompted, what was it that made you realize that these 20-year-old movies existed?
Oh, last week on the XBL podcast, we did a role-playing game session of something called the One Ring Adventure, and then it kind of come to light that someone mentioned about the films, and I'm like, films? Well, you mean the TV show that's coming out? And it's like, no, there's actually films. I'm like, never knew that.
Wow.
Apparently, I'm on Wikipedia. The first book, the first ever come out, was made in July 29th, 1954.
Yeah. I didn't read it then. No,
nor did I. I've never read it, but
oh
at least
my God.
Welcome to Game Talk Live. He said he's generally baffled.
I'm surprised he's still even in the chat, to be perfectly honest.
No.
I bet there's people that didn't even know Avatar was a film, Blue People. They just thought it was that cartoon, I bet there's people out there that didn't know that.
Yeah, you can't compare Avatar and Lord of the Rings in terms of franchises.
Well,
no.
If
Lord of the Rings is
it's films as well as an upcoming TV show, which I will watch. I am actually going to watch them. I will make a point.
Watch the movies first.
Yeah, I'll get that. No, is it? Well.
And watch the extended editions.
The extended editions?
Yeah.
Are they longer than what the books are?
I don't know. I've actually not read the books. So.
They're pretty long, so... I mean, each extended edition is of each film is at least over 3 hours. So you're talking about...
Is it kind of Game
probably
of Thrones
10 hours.
style?
No.
That's one that I could not get into. That was weird. People I've watched the whole first season, but it gets good. It gets better in season 2. I'm not watching the whole season to get into it. I was like, no way.
The first season is good.
Every season of Game of Thrones worth watching to see Emilia Clarke naked. For God's sake.
Well, that drops off after a couple of seasons, to be fair. But my advice for any Game of Thrones, anybody who's going to watch Game of Thrones now, is get up to about season 6 or season 5, and then just stop. Just consider that the end of it, and then just don't watch any further.
Don't go past the end of season 5 would be my advice.
I was trying to think of where.
Don't even start season 6, because then you can't start season 6 and not finish it and then not be ultimately bitterly disappointed.
House of Dragons starts tomorrow, or 2:00 in the morning actually.
Tonight. Yeah, I was going to say it's today, isn't it? So
Stupid.
No. It's not stupid.
It's too soon.
Dragons and inbreds. It's all.
No. I have this fundamental problem with TV show prequels, apart from one exception, which I think is probably one of the best shows ever made. But generally, I really can't get into prequels.
What's the prequel you like?
The prequel I love is which is literally just finished. Actually, the last episode was last Tuesday. Was Better Call Saul.
I knew you were going to say that. I've not seen it, but as soon as you said it, I've heard a lot of good things about that.
Yeah. So if you watch Breaking Bad, it's a prequel to that around a specific character. But it's probably better than Breaking Bad at this point. But we're getting in the weeds. But that is amazing. But generally, I don't really like them, and especially not with Game of Thrones because. I guess like with some shows like Better Call Saul, there's a bit where you can kind of have a look. It's kind of like a prequel, but you can also visit what stuff's like after the show it relates to. So in Better Call Saul's case, there's a sequel element to it to some extent, so you're kind of interested in that. I don't really think you can do it with Game of Thrones, at least not in that show, but and it's just, they need to leave it for more time for people to get over how that show ended. I think to get more people interested. Like I don't know how it's going to do. I'm really intrigued to see how it does because I think there's still a really bitter taste in a lot of people's mouths, including my own, about how it all ended.
There's a sequel coming as well with Jon Snow.
Oh yeah, the Jon Snow one. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that actually.
Yeah,
there is. So I've been a lot more interested in that. But I think they have to do that just because they have to end it better than they did the show. Dexter, if anybody's watched Dexter, they had to do the same thing where they ended it. They left it for 10 years and then did a one-off limited run to try and kind of end it in a way that was more satisfactory than the original series.
That's too long to leave it. That's too long to leave a program. 10 years, surely.
No, because that's the amount of time it takes to recover from some of these fucking shit endings. Like you need that time to forget about the show, remember all the good bits, and forget about all the bad bits. So, and Game of Thrones is like that.
You can't forget the last season of Game of Thrones. It was so awful. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Awful. Yeah, so you need about 25 years. You need a life sentence to get over how bad that was, I think.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Dexter. Look, I was talking to a friend about Dexter, and I just completely forgotten about the end of Dexter. Like it completely just gone from my brain because my friend was like, "Oh, I got back in Dexter." So he was telling me that it was worth watching. So I might actually have to watch that because I did really liked. Well, at the beginning, I really, really liked Dexter.
Yeah. Dexter was probably one of the best shows on TV up until, I'd argue, I think it's season 4, which was the Trinity Killer season. That was one of the best seasons of any TV show I've ever watched, and it ended in such an amazing way. They could have pretty much wrapped it up with another season after that, but they didn't. They did like 4 more, I think. So, and it just ended terribly. And the new one, I don't know if it really is brilliant in the way it ends, but it's certainly a lot better than what came before. So maybe go back and watch it.
I guess the problem with anything that gets popular is there's then a motivation to basically milk whatever franchise that is. You'll hear it a lot where you'll think, right, that story's done. In games, maybe there's I know people say that about, say, The Last of Us as an example, but when a piece of whatever, whether it be a movie or a TV show or whatever, gets popular because of how good it is, there's just that motivation to then try to milk it for as much money as you can, and that's why you get these drawn out shows where they go 4 or 5 seasons too long in some cases, and that more or less in some cases kind of kills the franchise at times, unfortunately. And I think what happens is because they kind of go on, they've kind of got to try and outdo the previous season, or they've got to do something new or something more ridiculous, and then it kind of turns into something it originally wasn't as well, which kind of spoils it a bit, which is a shame. Yeah,
or you go the opposite direction, which is what Game of Thrones did, where it actually wrapped it up too soon relative to what it was trying to do. and in fact, if they'd had maybe like 2 seasons worth of extra stuff to get to where they ultimately ended up finishing.
That last season went fast.
It just went. Went 0 to 100, and then it was over. And it was kind of like, well, you've not really earned a lot of the plot points that you've set up or that you've tried to pull through. So,
has anyone read the book, the Game of Thrones books?
No, I've not.
I've read the books. The books are absolutely amazing because obviously we know how the Targaryens can go and where eventually she goes, Daenerys. And it's like they actually build that up all the way through the books, and how they did it in the last season was like end of season 5, she's like, yeah. Season 6, I'm just going to go psycho.
Do you love it when you have a TV series and they come back years later and they completely forget what they did? Now, you lot might laugh at me, but I've watched an old program called Birds of a Feather. Right? Right?
I could have been guessing for weeks, and I would never have guessed that was the show that was going to come out your mouth there, Stubbs.
Right. Yeah, right. Well, in the old days, the woman's mother-in-law died, right? Yeah. Well,
spoilers. I was going to say, we need to put spoiler warning on this stuff.
Was this that sitcom with the 3 women?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, is this the one?
Husbands are in prison. Yeah, well, the new series comes out years later. He comes out of prison. The woman gets remarried, yeah, and the mother-in-law's that died in the previous series is alive and kicking. Completely forgot.
Are you that guy that wrote into the show to complain?
No, I'm not actually. But,
I've received one complaint about.
I love how we're like discussing these like mega expensive modern day like Game of Thrones, like but like I'm talking about the plot points in those. They have to be really intricate and really plan these out, and they have tons of writers, and then we go straight from those to Birds of a Feather.
Yeah, you might as well have said Mrs. Brown's Boys for all.
Yeah, but to be fair though,
1 foot in the grave.
When someone comes back from the dead and they died, it's a bit weird.
I mean I can't think of many examples of that happening, if I'm being honest. I think obviously with the sitcom, I guess they could, or a soap, they can kind of do that. But
don't get him onto Emmerdale.
I don't watch that.
I didn't sign up for soap talk. Like,
no, I mean, in fairness, I don't think we can hold the writers and creators of Birds of a Feather to the same standards as the writers of Dexter, Game of Thrones, and other shows. So,
X-Files. I see X-Files is mentioned in the chat. They did, because they did that. The latest season they did was good because they did another season of that. That was good. Looking a bit older, like, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was decent. Yeah,
I never really got into X-Files. I think when it was kind of big, I was maybe a bit too young, possibly, and then it was kind of one I didn't come to a bit later.
Oh, classic.
Well, how young are you?
How old do you think, Stubbs?
Don't know.
34.
I don't know.
Fucking hell, nailed it in one. Jesus.
Did I?
Yeah, good shout, mate. Good shout. But yeah, because that was like early 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When X-Files started. So I was obviously, no older than 10 really, or whatever when it started. So
fair enough.
Birds of a Feather.
As soon as you said X-Files, I could hear the theme song in my head. As soon as you said X-Files, I could hear it. As soon as you said it.
I just can't get on. It's just stuck in me. It just Birds of a Feather out of the whole.
There we go.
Yeah.
Funny bit of the show. There we go.
Well, no,
and yet still not the most ridiculous thing that's been said on the show tonight.
That's only second.
So it's not as ridiculous as the Lord of the Rings thing.
No. It's close, but it's not as ridiculous. It's not as ridiculous.
I am going to watch them films. I will watch them at some point. It's on my list. Is it on streaming? Can you stream it? 'Cause it'll be Amazon, won't it? It'll be on anything.
Yeah.
I think they pop up from time to time, but they're actually, I think, notoriously difficult to be on consistent streaming patterns. So
the thing is, right? That's a movie that would regularly be on something like Channel 4. Like, I'm pretty sure Lord of the Rings is being shown as like a movie premiere on Channel 4, like at least 3 or 4 times in the past.
Oh my God! Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King Extended Edition is 4 hours and 23 minutes.
Yeah, they're epic.
Oh my God! 1978, is that when it came?
No. The movies were 2001, 2002, 2003.
Oh, I found it. The Lord of the Rings, actually. Lord of the Rings, it's got the ring thing, and Lord of the Rings, 1978. You sure?
Yeah, I was definitely born before the movies were released.
Oh, yeah. Right. This might take a bit of research.
If there were, it's the most advanced CGI I think I've ever seen for the time period.
Oh dear.
Have you guys got anything you want to talk about gaming wise, or should we carry on with TV?
Oh yeah, we're gaming. We forgot about gaming. Yeah.
I'm struggling to focus my mind on.
Yeah.
The revelations that have come out this evening.
Well, from what I can see, the first Lord of the Rings movie is 2003. I can see here.
2001.
Then 2002 and 2003.
Then what am I looking at? I'm on Amazon Video. I put in
I went on Bing search.
The Rings, right? The Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings, in brackets, 1978, 133 minutes, magical full length. Oh, it's cartoon. It's a cartoon version. Never mind.
There you go.
Yeah, they want cartoons. Right. Ignore me. Oh,
it must be quite popular because it says for Lord of the Rings at the box office, all 3 films it raked in 2.991 billion. So it must have been quite good for that time.
So what? The Hobbit, Battle of 5 Armies. So the Hobbit's before Lord of the Rings, isn't they? Because that's following in from the books. Is that right?
Yeah, the Hobbit's set before the Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
So I need to watch the Hobbit films before watching the Lord of the Rings films.
You don't have to. No, I think you can start with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings came out first. The movies for Lord of the Rings came out first, at least.
I don't think I can watch them. I don't like Orlando Bloom.
He's good though as Legolas. He's not
Legolas.
Legolas. He's not super main character-ish. I mean, he is part of the Fellowship, but he's not like the principal focus.
I actually think his character is pretty good in the movies as well.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
I like the elves just in general, but you should give them a watch though, BMG.
I will. I will watch them at some point. I'll have to find someone to suffer and watch them with me.
What I'd do is I'd watch one film, and then if you feel like you need a break, just watch an episode or 2 of Birds of a Feather, and that should reset.
A good palate cleanser.
You read it? Yeah, palate cleanser, a sorbet, if you will.
Well, now I know they bring a character back that they killed off.
Just ignore that.
Only Fools and Horses is better to watch, as you big fan of.
I do love Only Fools and Horses. Yeah.
Did you like the prequels, the Rock and Chips that they haven't actually finished making yet? Didn't you? No.
That should have never been made.
Because the biggest mystery to me is how Del mystery is. Del Boy's mum always talks about Del Boy's mum's deathbed, but no one ever said that's the biggest mystery. What happened to her? I know she died. But I think that's what it was leading to.
Mystery
but
solved.
I believe, I believe that the Rock and Chips. I believe it came out a while ago that all the scripts for all the shows for Rocks and Chips were written, and the son the writer's son was going to take over, and there's word that it's going to go back into production again.
No.
Hopefully.
No. You'll never get. Well, half of the original actors, quarter of the original actors have died now. You know,
No. But you don't need them. You don't for a prequel. You don't need them.
No, it's one of them shows that it should have just been left as the series as it was and never touched. Once he died, they should have never have made any more. Because I think they finished off 1 or 2 episodes. And the worst script started for a new season, which obviously got scrapped. The prequel should never have happened. There's just no need for it. He was clamouring to know what happened. He was clamouring to know what happened to his mum.
I want to know. It needs to happen.
We all wanted to know who Darth Vader was and where he come from. We don't need to know where Del Boy and Rodney's mum, how she died.
Well, he's always talking about it, and bloody, he's always talking about the bugger.
To get Rodney to do stuff.
You will look on the fan sites for Only Fools and Horses. You'll find that's one of the top most wanted things to know. That is.
Then, no, never mind. I won't say what I was going to say live on show because I don't want you to get struck.
What developer would be best to make the Only Fools and Horses game? Scott has said Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog. Like a gritty take on Del Boy's adventures.
Bit of wheeling and dealing. Stick a pony in my pocket.
Oh no, it's got to be Kojima, hasn't it? Kojima making Only Fools and Horses game, like Kojima's interpretation of a British sitcom.
Do you reckon Kojima's actually seen Only Fools and Horses?
I reckon he's seen an episode.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen Only Fools and Horses.
He's an Uncle Albert fan, I reckon. Definitely.
Speaking of Kojima, though, do you reckon we're going to see what he's working on at Opening Night Live? Because that's to say, because he's best friends with Sir Keeley.
Hopefully.
Well, the weird thing was, if you remember, when before Summer Games Fest, that Overdose trailer leaked, which was supposedly
I forgot
Kojima's.
about that, actually. Yeah.
The trailer just leaked, and everyone just assumed that was either his next project with Sony or it was the Microsoft thing, and they just assumed that he would show that trailer off, and then it was never spoken of ever again.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, Overdose. Yeah. That'll be quite, yeah. Oh, you might see some bit of that, yeah.
Was that, because I don't know if Overdose was ultimately rumoured to be or said to be the cloud game. I feel like I heard someone say that was fairly reliable, that's what they thought, but because seemingly, I mean, if you listen to rumours or reliable rumours, he's working on whatever the cloud game is, plus Death Stranding too.
I never believed this cloud partnership with Microsoft, but in the end, I was proven wrong. It's true.
Yeah, it is true. So
Jeffy Grubb coming through.
Yeah,
Jeffy Grubb
saying no, it's not happening.
Grubby.
It was all true. It was.
It was. Yeah. So I think there's look. I mean, it's a Jeff Keighley show. If it doesn't have a Kojima element, that would be surprising at this point, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, the Summer Games Fest, it stood out the fact that Kojima didn't make an appearance, and that was obviously because he was signed up for the Xbox thing. So.
Yeah. So I mean, I hope he's there, but if he is there, I don't think it will be for the cloud game. I think it would be for whatever his other project is, and maybe just a announcement. He did say the other day, didn't he? I did see he posted on Twitter that he was editing something. So most people thought there was a trailer, and I think most people thought it could not possibly just be the PC Game Pass trailer. That was like a minute long. So hopefully we get something. That would be cool.
Preferably without any mentions of 9/11 this time, if he can. If
they could avoid that would be good.
Why did he do that? Has he done that before?
Yeah. I think it was
Really?
when was it, Luke? It was his last appearance where he didn't show anything game wise, did he? He just talked bollocks for a couple of minutes.
It was on one of the Keeley shows, where he just talked about he wasn't ready to show anything. But I think the only nugget I guess he got from him was he was trying to think of like a different type of game to make. He was trying to think of something else, and that's kind of. But apart from that, it was just chatting bollocks for about 10 minutes.
Was that not the one where he showed the trailer with Norman Reedus getting into a box at the end?
That was it was a director's cut one. Yeah, that's when.
So he talked bollocks, and then he showed the director's cut trailer.
Yeah.
And everyone went wild because they thought it was a Metal Gear thing because he was he got the box off the shelf and got in the box and stuff. So
well, it had the bit of a Metal Gear theme in it, didn't it? It's because
he knew what he was doing.
Oh yeah, Kojima for a long time though have said that they're working on the next Metal Gear, not that Survivor, whatever it was, rubbish that came out, but they were actually working on a sequel to Metal Gear Solid 5, but 4 even. Is it a sequel to 4? I think they were doing. They were going forward in time with Solid Snake.
Well, they did the Phantom Pain, which was 5.
Yeah, but it's 4 then. Guns of Patriots, that was 4, wasn't it? That was the PlayStation.
Yeah, that was 4. Yeah.
I believe it's meant to be a sequel to that, an actual carry on from present day instead of going back. Which
I mean,
it's a bit hard.
I think the problem is nobody knows what Konami are doing with Metal Gear because we just haven't heard anything since Survive. So I mean, who knows with Konami nowadays? I mean, there's been so many reports over the last few months of to be fair, from pretty reliable insiders saying that Konami have licensed a lot of their IP out, including Metal Gear and Silent Hill. Talks about some Castlevania project as well. So I think we're getting something. I think one of the big rumors for a while was Bluepoint making something Metal Gear related, i.e., like a remake of something from Metal Gear. And then I think there was another rumor that there was a Virtuous, I think, we're making a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. So there's all sorts of crap flying about. Something's coming relating to those IPs, but we don't know what.
I'd love a remake of the first game. Love a remake. A ground-up remake of the first game.
Yeah, you'd have to do it. Yeah, you'd have to ground-up remake that one, I think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, because it's, I recently went back and had a look at the original Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation, and if you had like an old style TV, it'd be playable, but on a 50-inch plus TV, 4K and all that, it's just impossible. Can't play it. Cannot play it at all. And it just looks awful. But it'd be interesting to see if they do something. I'd like to see Bluepoint, with everything they've done up to press, they've kind of, they're good at what they do. Because they did such an amazing job with Dark Souls. Dark Souls isn't... Oh, is it Demon Souls? Dark Souls? Demon Souls.
Demon Souls, sorry. Demon Souls.
They did it's not my type of game, but I can appreciate what they did for it and how amazing it looks and plays. But, something like that, I think if Sony chucked the right money at it and say, look, just license the IP out to us, we'll remake it and... we'll go from there. And even if they can get Bluepoint to do it with a bit of Kojima's input on the side as well, maybe. You never know. But yeah, I think it's about time we got a new Metal Gear. I was a bit disappointed with 5. I thought it was too much open world. It was, and I didn't really enjoy it. There was no ending to the game. I don't know if anyone has completed it, but there was no ending because he didn't finish it. It was stuck with some cutscene. Yeah, some cutscene stuck at the end that wasn't even meant to be the ending of the game. Crazy. Never got to finish it. So it'd be nice if Kojima could get back on it, but then again, he might not even want to touch it.
I don't think he does. I don't think he wants. I mean, putting aside all the shit that went down with him and Konami, you know, I don't think he would ever work with them again. Probably vice versa for that matter. But putting all that aside, I think he probably just doesn't want to work on Metal Gear because, I mean, he can work on whatever he wants, essentially. He'll always get funding for his games now.
Yeah.
And he can do stuff like Death Stranding, which is totally weird, but very Kojima, and people will pay for it. So, you know, I think he's got so much. And the thing is, as well, I mean, Kojima is nearly in his 60s. So he doesn't have, you know, he's not going to make games forever. So I don't think he'll want to revisit Metal Gear now. I think he's done with it. I would suspect he just wants to focus on kind of dream projects before he retires, basically. So, I mean, well, maybe. Well, I mean, maybe he'll be going, you know, like Clint Eastwood into his 90s. I mean, you know, who knows? But you know, I hope he keeps making them for as long as he can, because I think no matter anything that he's ever released, I've been interested in. And the big one for me is I mean, Overdose sounds great because it sounds like a horror game. So if it's a horror game, I think that's awesome because I think he would make PT showed that he knows how to make a horror sequence, you know. So let's see what that is. And I mean, I hope he turns up at Keela's show. That would be good.
Yeah, hopefully we see something cool with him doing something, anything. It's you know, keep getting these little sneak peek pictures of him working on stuff and motion capture stuff, but haven't really heard anything since the announcement of he's working with Xbox. So yeah, it'd be cool to see something from him.
Yeah, definitely would be. Welcome to Venomous AK, Lewis. Welcome. Yeah, it'd be Luke Steele and Kojima walking on stage together.
So
he's under NDA, you see. He can't talk about
it. Yeah, that's it. I wrote it.
I'm waiting on the new Barbie horse riding game or the movie tie-in. That's what I'm waiting on.
Aren't we all?
Oh yeah.
Anything else you want to talk
about? No, I think it's been a bit of a, apart from obviously the Embracer stuff, things have just been a bit quiet at the moment. I think next week's going to be a bit of a hectic week, isn't it, with all the opening night live stuff. And I know he's announced a lot already and shown a lot that he's going to be talking about Callisto Protocol and all that. And but no, it'd be more. I think it's going to be more coming to next week that we're going to get a bit more info and stuff to talk about. Not unless anyone's interested in Destiny.
You can talk about Destiny if you want. I'm not,
sorry guys, I've got to go.
No. I'll leave it there. Yeah, no, I think it's a good time to kind of.
Did you guys see that earlier this evening? Saudi Arabia became the first country to approve the Activision Blizzard acquisition.
Really?
No, it didn't.
That doesn't surprise me though either. No, it doesn't.
I think it came out about like half an hour before it went live or something. So it was fairly late.
Yeah,
so
fairly soon.
That's it. You've heard it here first. Activision Blizzard deal is going to be in before Christmas. All the games, Game Pass,
Microsoft
on the 24th of December. You're welcome.
How much should Microsoft lobbyists give to the Saudi government? Backhanders,
they've been, I think Microsoft had a word with the WWE to see what was the best way of getting in Saudi's good books.
You are right though. They get on very well with them. They do. They would be the right people to talk to. They would be.
I'm not too sure the US and Saudi Arabia get on particularly well.
They don't, because when WWE initially wanted to go to Saudi Arabia, the Congress and the defense people basically tried to get WWE to not do business with them and not go there. And WWE said bollocks to you or whatever. They still went. They did. So they tried to stop them to start with.
Yeah.
But they weren't having it.
No, I was going to say that I don't think anything's going to stop WWE from doing anything that involves getting more money for them or this.
Well, what they did was the only difference is obviously with the wrestling, the only rule is because when they first started going there, the women weren't allowed to attend. It was just the male wrestlers. But from what I gather now, as long as the women are covered from head to the toes, that they can go and wrestle. Oh. That's quite modern for Saudi Arabia. That is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to comment on the subject of them because otherwise we'll start getting into a rant about stuff that.
Yeah, we better not.
Yeah. It's probably
it's quite a medieval country, really.
Like walking on eggshells.
Yeah,
conversation.
No. Yeah, I shall.
But
hold back my words on the
first Activision deal to be approved. So
yeah, so let's prediction. When's it going to close, Stubbs? This year? Next year? We know it's going to be between. Well, they predict it's going to be before the end of June next year. So it is. We know it's in the next 10 months.
I'll go with whatever Microsoft think. Really, whatever date they say. Roughly.
They just said by the end of the current financial year, which is, I think, end of June. So any time between now and then, they've said.
Yeah, so I'll go with any. It's hard to give a prediction. I think it would come.
No, put a month on it, Stubbs. I want a prediction from you. Is it going to be before Christmas?
Just to be awkward, I'm going to say December.
Fair enough. I mean, hey, it could happen. Game Pass drops in December. What do you reckon, Luke?
Yeah, I'll say December.
Oh, okay.
I'll say December. Yeah.
I think a lot of people weren't expected to close this year. I think a lot of people are expected to close next year.
About December next year. Now Luke said it.
Yeah.
Being Mr. Mergers, I'm feeling better about that.
I was going to say, the people that were saying 2023 obviously were just pure speculation from the community rather than any particular experts in that field. So,
but I think more people. This is what I've noticed about podcasts in general, and I suppose Luke about a lot of the podcasts, American-based podcasts. They only think the FTC exists. That's all they talk about. So it is possible. It is possible for it to clear in America by the end of the year, maybe, but not globally.
Americans only know Americans exist.
Yeah. No, they don't. But
no. But my date is, I think it's going to clear on February the 28th at 10 a.m. UK time.
That's bold.
We're going to get. There's going to be an announcement where it's all clear. Phil Spencer is going to be dancing down the street, throwing out confetti, saying everything's on Game Pass.
Free Game Pass codes in the air.
Make it 2 p.m. BMG.
Well,
it's always 2 p.m. in the UK when they make these announcements. Every time it's 2 p.m. because of the time zone.
Right. So all right then. Fair enough. Tuesday, February the 28th at 2 p.m. UK time, GMT. The announcement's going to land that everything's finalised, and within a week after that, everything's going to be in Game Pass.
There you go. You heard it here first.
And then they're going to announce the acquisition of Ubisoft.
Oh, God.
Same day.
That's one way to bring you down.
That really would.
Yeah.
And that would be when the FTC go, hang on. We're not so sure now.
No.
They'd be like, let's roll this back.
Funny enough, I'd seen something on Twitter today. God, I can't remember where I was seeing it. Was it The Verge? Said that someone's found something on the back end on Microsoft that Ubisoft Plus is coming very soon to Xbox. The actual subscription service that they spoke about, was it earlier this year, late last year?
Yeah, I remember seeing a headline regarding that earlier, BMG, but honestly, it kind of just passed me by because I really couldn't care less. Like I'm struggling to think of things I could care less about than that service coming to Xbox.
You clearly don't play enough Assassin's Creed games. You really don't. I think what I'm going to do is I might do every day for the next maybe year. I might just send you DMs on information about Assassin's Creed from like the history, right from the start to present.
So for every DM that I get regarding Assassin's Creed, you know you're getting a DM in reply regarding Sonic, don't you?
Oh, damn,
Sonic facts and pictures and gifs. So,
dear.
But I'm struggling. I'm wondering like how much of a market there is for that particular subscription service. I mean, it must be doing well enough on PC that they feel comfortable bringing it to consoles because it is available on PC at the moment. But like,
yeah,
I mean, if you like Assassin's Creed, great. But what, they release one of them once a year, once every 2 years at the moment.
Yeah, plus it's like $15 a month on PC. So yeah. I mean, you're talking about like a Game Pass price alone for like Game Pass Ultimate price, effectively. Yeah. So I don't know how many people are actually going to want to pay that for Ubisoft's output. I can't see it being that high.
Don't see it either. Look, I mean, I'm trying to think what I mean, if you think about it, let's say they release it next week, what have Ubisoft got for the rest of this year that people are going to think, holy shit, I want to subscribe to that?
BMG will subscribe.
That's not enough, though. It's not enough. It's just, I mean, yeah, I don't think they have. What do they have?
Skull and
for
Bones.
The rest of the year? Skull and Bones.
That's literally the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, because they pushed Avatar.
There's Assassin's Creed event on the 15th of September. We could be getting this year. There's a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest. Well, actually, I don't know if this is still coming out this year. I think it is. Don't know. But the biggest thing for me that they had this year was the new Mario Rabbids game, and that wouldn't even be on the service anyway. So
that's coming out in October, so it is hitting this year. But what's exciting about Ubisoft's like upcoming pipeline that would want you to spend $15 a month on it? You know, like BMG, even that Assassin's Creed game, that's a smaller project, isn't it? It's not like a full-blown next Assassin's Creed sequel Rift, is it? That was the one that was essentially DLC that they spun off, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it was originally planned as DLC, but then it turned into something bigger where they've warranted it's going to be a game. It's not going to be a game like the RPG ones that you've got now, like Valhalla, Odyssey, or Origins. It's going to be more like Assassin's Creed 1. More, smaller game, more of a linear path, a bit more set on stealth, I think, is the idea, which Assassin's Creed really kind of left behind a while ago, the stealth element to it. But it's going to be more like that. It's going to be more of a traditional Assassin's Creed game, what Assassin's Creed should be. I don't like the RPG style of it. I like the games they've done. I played them. They tell some good stories. Some go on a bit longer than they need to, and in the direction they don't need to. But I like the core linear, smaller worlds to go around, like Unity with, going around France and stuff like that. Bit of a smaller game, like miniature open world type thing. It's going to be. I'm looking forward to playing it. Basim's quite an interesting character anyway. If anyone's played Valhalla and you've completed it, you'll kind of know where that goes and sort of the story with there. So it'd be interesting to get more on his background because he is an actual interesting character. So I am looking forward to playing that. I am looking forward to getting some Infinity news as well, because I do like the idea of a live service Assassin's Creed game. I would, as I've said on other shows, I would give away one of my kids for it. I want a live service Assassin's Creed game, something they're constantly going to be updating, adding new worlds. It's going to be interesting how they're going to do it, because most people, they don't like the modern world stuff of Assassin's Creed. I don't know why. I like it. I think it's adds an interesting element to it and what connects them all. And don't get me wrong, the story can go a bit far-fetched. especially in the later games. But now I'm looking forward to it, and I will be watching the event and hopefully get some good news that we're getting Assassin's Creed this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking it up here, BMG. So according to Bloomberg, apparently it has been pushed to next year. Obviously, nothing's official, so they're saying that it was initially scheduled for late this year, but has been pushed to next year. But I'm just looking through like Ubisoft's like titles and stuff. So for this year, let me know if any of these stand out. Discovery Tour Viking Age, which is only coming to Amazon Luna and Stadia, apparently. Whatever the bloody hell that is. Oddballers, ring any bells?
What the? No.
Nope.
Dodge.
They've got Prince of Persia, Sands of Time remake, which was more or less indefinitely delayed because they kind of, I think they shifted it to a different studio.
But wasn't there recently something about that last few days about Prince of Persia? So I keep going. I'll Google it.
Yeah.
I'll see.
Yeah, they've got, well, obviously, Roller Champions is already out. The Division Heartland, which is the free-to-play Division game. Avatar, which was delayed to 2023. Assassin's Creed Infinity that you mentioned, BMG. Beyond Good and Evil 2, that's kind of just vanished. Splinter Cell, which was obviously announced, but it was always that project had basically just started or just been greenlit when they announced it. And then the big one, Luke, I know you're excited for this. X-Defiant. Is still in development, but doesn't have a date on it. So
it really takes the piss, that game.
Yeah. They actually dropped the Tom Clancy's name from that.
So, it's disrespectful, I tell you. Oh, goodness.
Yeah. But is there anything, and obviously Skull and Bones was mentioned before, like, what in that list would get you excited for paying Ubisoft $15 a month to access it?
I would just pay them so they know that I cared.
It's like a monthly tip to Ubisoft. Like, big fan.
To be fair, Eves might need it soon. Like the way things are going, might need a little bit of pocket change.
Yeah,
I mean,
Gills, come on, I'll look after you, my friend.
I mean, I think when you read out that list, like there's, like for me, like nothing out of that list would convince me to get the service, and it doesn't even make me excited about the list. You know, I guess Splinter Cell remake. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But let's see. You know, I've got to see what you know, how they're going to do that. The Avatar game, even though I really don't like the film, I'm actually quite looking forward to the Avatar game, just because I think it sounds like a single player game, and it's massive, as in the developer. So, and I think they do really good stuff, and they have an amazing engine. So I'm really looking forward to actually seeing what that looks like. And then I think like the only thing that I know that they're working on that I'm really genuinely interested in seeing that we don't know anything about really is the massive Star Wars game that they're making.
They announced that, didn't they?
Yeah, so, you know, and that's just because I'm a huge fan of Star Wars and Massive, and I think a game made on the Snowdrop engine, you know, the Star Wars game could look absolutely amazing. But we don't even know what it is, so it's still, you know, probably quite early. So they just, they just don't make games for me, Ubisoft,
BMG,
and that's fine. But
did you know there were Star Wars movies, mate?
Yes, I have seen all Star Wars content. I know they exist.
I feel like we've got to check.
No. I know they exist. Don't worry, I've watched them.
Yeah, but you're right. There's just not an awful lot to get excited about at this stage.
Yeah, it's one of them. I think they're probably going to rely on more of the back catalogue of games they've got, and hopefully, you know, to pull people in. On the PS Plus Extra and Premium tier, you've got the Ubisoft Classics Plus Classics. It's obviously a selection of games. You know, there's some good games to go back and play. They've got Valhalla as the most recent one, and you know, they've got like Black Flag, and they've just added a few more of the Assassin's Creed. So it's good to go back for someone to play like that. But I would it's more if it was included on the service, like PlayStation have included it on there. I'm assuming Xbox are probably going to do the same thing. It's going to be included in Ultimate, I think.
Yeah.
I would assume so. I wouldn't.
I don't know. No, I wouldn't say so. Because if they want $15 per person,
I can't see Ubisoft.
Like EA Play is not much. Is what is it? £20 a year or £10 a year or something like that?
But I assume BMG was referring to like the classic stuff that's included in PS
the classic
Plus.
ones.
Not the full thing.
No.
Oh,
If it
cut down version,
like that's what PlayStation have got. They've got like a cut down classics kind of service, which is included for free if you've got extra or premium. So I'm assuming the Game Pass is going to have the same sort of thing. The only thing that would be worth paying for if you knew of the lineup what was coming up, if it was decent enough, is where you're going to get all the DLCs and games early, and all the games are going to come to the service day one. It's like I think Skull and Bones is a full price £70 game. So you could. But essentially you could just take the service out for a month, or play whichever games with DLC and then just cancel it. So in that sense, it'll be useful.
Well, that's what I was WhatsApping you lot earlier, saying is Horizon Forbidden West in the PS4 version of PlayStation Plus, and you guys were like, no, not yet. Because I was going to take it out for a month to complete it.
Yeah, but there's other games in there. Have you looked to see what's in the service? They've got some really good games in there. Like Death Stranding's in there, Spider-Man Remastered, and obviously the standard one, Miles Morales. There's
is Ghost in there?
War. Ghost of Tsushima. The PS4 edition and Director's Cut. Such a good selection of games. Even if you took it out for the month, the game value you're getting in there is just phenomenal. Anyway, Ghost of Tsushima is worth taking the subscription service out to play. That's an amazing game.
Great game. Yeah, really great game.
Yeah.
Just to go back to Ubisoft, I think Venomous AK made a point. I don't know if anybody saw this earlier. The rumours that Ubisoft are making a Blade game of the Marvel ilk. Actually, fairly compelling evidence for it. Actually, an actor seems to have let it slip slightly.
Yeah, I did see that, but I also heard people saying, is it not just like the movie people using a Ubisoft mocap studio?
Yeah, I guess
because the film director was in the picture.
Yeah, because it was weird though, because I think what happened was there was an actor. Well, this is So there was an actor who posted something on Instagram, which was him in a mocap suit with someone else, saying that he'd been working on a project basically, and thanks, #blessed and all that sort of stuff. And then he put various hashtags, and he put #Ubisoft, #Ubisoft Games in that post. And then I think he showed a second image of like I can't remember what they're called, it's like the director clipboards that they use to say action, and it had Marvel and then B. Tariq on it, and he's the director of the new Blade film. But there were, the picture was from the same mocap session, so it's I can see it both ways, but it's the hashtags that make me feel like he was alluding to a game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know why they do a mocap for the film. Would that make sense? They would do a lot of motion capture.
I guess that's a good point. The thing is, look, I would be hyped as shit for a Blade game, but
God, I'd love
Blade. But Ubisoft being involved doesn't fill me with an awful lot of confidence. Like if it was Insomniac or something. Imagine if Insomniac announced a Blade game, like. I don't know. Do they have the chops for it these days? Like, it's difficult.
It'd be Assassin's Creed with a Blade outfit on. It would be.
Well, yeah, it would be. There'd be towers, vampire towers, of course, and all of that. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, it gets just the notion of it. Did you play the original Blade game? I think it was Blade and then Blade 2 back on the PlayStation.
I played the original.
I didn't realize there were Blade games in the past.
Yeah.
They were actually. I mean, I don't think. Well, I remember playing them and I loved them. I don't actually think they're great games, but I remember loving them. So, but then that may just be because I love Blade. And all you would need to do is just make as you said, get a dev like Insomniac to make a Blade game, because you could do it open world. I don't think there'd be any problem with that.
Yeah.
But just not Ubisoft open world. I don't want them to make an open world Blade game because it'd just be all the nonsense and shit that comes from their other games. So I don't know. I mean, if it's true, if they are actually doing it, then I'm excited because it's a Blade game and I love Blade. But I'd really have serious reservations about what they will do with that. Maybe maybe it's part of their new EA initiative where they're going to make a single player game, and they've gone down this direction with Blade and they're going to try and have less servicey stuff in it. We can dream, can't we? We can dream.
I mean, people were very skeptical about what's the Jedi game called again? From EA, Respawn.
Oh, Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. I think people were a little skeptical about Respawn, who were typically a first-person shooter studio, taking on that type of game, and obviously that worked out quite well. So yeah, maybe this is when Ubisoft finally turn that corner.
Turns the corner. Yeah. This is it. This is the start.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the new movie though. I think that's next year. Is that just a complete reboot of the? I know very little about it other than they announced it. I assume it's just.
Yeah,
I'm assuming Wesley Snipes isn't in it.
No, Wesley's not. Wesley's not getting his jacket on again, his sword. Yeah. No, it's Mahershala. No, he's out now. He's been acting. He's a great actor, Wesley Snipes. But it's Mahershala Ali who's playing Blade, who is a fantastic actor and really well suited to Blade. But yes, it's a complete reboot, and it's going to be integrated within the MCU essentially. So how that will work, no one knows, because we've had no mention of vampires really in the MCU before. But now we have a multiverse. It's pretty easy to just chuck something in there that's vampires. So I'm really looking forward to it, and they've got a very good director, and the only thing I don't like about what I've heard is that they've said they're not going to go for a particularly maturely rated film.
That's a bit of a shame, actually. Yeah, that is quite deflating. Not quite film. Obviously, it's wait and see, but there's just something about those sort of R-rated nature of the first films that
I agree.
That set them apart from other movies like it. So
yeah, I think you can get away with. I think they said they were going for something like PG-13, and I think you can actually get away with quite a lot in that, as in you can get away with gore and stuff, but which is important, I think, in a vampire film. But I don't. If you're expecting a Wesley Snipes Blade film in terms of violence and stuff, you're not going to get that.
Will he say the word motherfucker during that movie?
I don't know if you can do that in PG-13. Maybe, probably not. Probably he'll be saying motherfudger instead.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch those movies now. Actually, I really want to watch them. I do watch them from time to time, and I don't mind them. I can watch them. They're an easy enough watch. I think these days.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Blade films. I think they're the first Blade film is probably one of the most important comic films ever made. It's basically the first proper comic film, and I think without that film, I don't know how the rest of comic films would have gone effectively. Frost. And I watched it last year. Actually, they did I think it was the 20th anniversary. It may have even been longer. They did a showing in 4K at the cinema and the audience was packed for it, and it was the first film, and it was amazing watching it actually kind of remastered, because it looked like a modern day film, apart from some really sketchy CGI here and there, and it reminded me of like the opening scene in the kind of meat locker disco thing. It's just iconic. Like, it's just so good. It's so good. And Snipes is just he was brilliant. He was brilliant in it.
It'd be good if they could go the way of like Daredevil and the Punisher, that type of the violence in it for it. Because they did that really well.
Yeah, although that was Netflix, and they wanted to push. I mean, the Punisher's extremely gruesome.
I'd love that. I'd love them to do that.
Yeah, so would I. But I think when you try and integrate them into the MCU as they're trying to do, you just have to kind of neuter them somewhat, I suppose. I think the only one they probably won't do that to is Deadpool, because you can't possibly neuter that, and I think they've said that.
Cannot. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see about the game and the film.
Yeah.
I think it's time to go, Stubbs.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's been a fun chat. It has, definitely. We've talked about gaming, TV,
Birds of a feather.
And the fact that BMG didn't know there was Lord of the Rings films. So we've all learned a lot today. It's been a fun chat. So thanks for coming on, Scott. Can you tell people where they can find you? It's good to have you on. Definitely.
Yeah, I appreciate it, mate. Obviously, I think we got through the whole show. We didn't disagree on anything.
No.
So, BMG was hyping it up. I
know you two let us down. You two have let us down. I wanted handbags at dawn, cat scratching and everything.
You should have come up with some hard-hitting questions then to start that rivalry.
Yeah, all you had to do, BMG, was mention Halo once, but we've literally just gone over 2 hours and we didn't talk about Halo once. So
I tell you, them pictures just threw
you off. Yeah, I was going to say I pissed you off more than Stubbs with my Sonic pictures. So yeah, no, but I appreciate the invite, Stubbs. It was a pleasure. Obviously, I'm sure your viewers will know Green Pass Gaming from Luke. So obviously I'm over that neck of the woods as well. So we typically have a show either on a Thursday or Sunday, depending on when our schedules align. So I think we've got a show this Thursday, or if all goes to plan. So yeah, you can find me over there.
Supposedly the guest on there as well.
Yes, that is right. We've got a couple of guests coming up, but Stubbs, we're going to be on. We've obviously had this one a long time coming, and it's going to be 2 shows together in a week. Maybe we talk about Halo and Gears then, Stubbs, and then things get feisty.
Oh, you mentioned the G word. I've gone through 2 shows now without mentioning that word. I'm not saying it. People say all I talk about is that game, so I'm not going to say that word. But thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. And Luke, thanks for coming on. It's been a good one.
Yes, I've very much enjoyed it as always. I didn't quite expect to be talking about Birds of Feather or the existence of the Lord of the Rings films. At least not in that context. But I think that's what makes it very fun. So I'll certainly remember this one. And it's been a good time.
I might put it in the title. Birds of a Feather.
Yeah, you could put
don't exist.
There were some good suggestions in the chat, Stubbs. I don't know if you saw.
Well, if you want to put the topics in post show, then it should be Roundtable Gaming, Birds of a Feather, Lord of the Rings films. Just put that, and people will be like, "What the hell?" And then they'll click on it.
2,500 views. It'll be like, go crazy.
You'll get every Birds of a Feather fan across the world will flock to this, because I doubt there's any podcasts that are talking about Birds of Feather nowadays.
All 4 of them, Stubbs. All 4 of them will be here. When you do the title, what you need to do is you need to do Roundtable Gaming, but then strike out gaming, because we talk very little then everything else afterwards.
In fact, you should rename Birds of a Feather. Hear me out. 3 main characters, right? Roundtable Gaming. It's me, you, and BMG, and then guests. So we could actually call this show Birds of a Feather, because there are similarities. So just rename it.
And you can be Pauline Stubbs. I think that was her name, wasn't it? Pauline.
Tracy was one of them, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other one.
I can't remember them.
You watched the show. You brought it up. What do you mean you can't remember them?
I only remember the one actress. Her name's blanking.
I can't remember. But anyway,
But yes, it's been fun.
Thanks for coming on, Luke. And BMG, you've learnt a lot tonight. You've learnt that Lord of the Rings films exist. It was worth. He's gone. Yeah, that's it. He's done. He's gone.
No, I mean, sorry, I was about to sneeze.
Don't make me Google it.
I was just holding it. Thanks for having me. It's been interesting. It's been eye-opening. But yes, I have discovered there is Lord of the Rings films. They're not just books and a TV show coming out soon. And I will watch them. I will catch up. But yeah, it's been fun, and I weren't expecting us to go in the directions we did, but that's the whole point, I suppose. And I'm just thrown for the evening. Looking at awful pictures of dead animals.
He stopped it for the time being. He has. He's gone back to his normal picture.
I thought I made him suffer too much.
Yeah.
I'm saving the rest of the characters for the next time. There's a whole host of Sonic characters that I need to introduce
me the pictures, and I could have put them on the main screen.
I know that for next time.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I'm going to need more Fosters for the next show.
Definitely. Right, thanks everyone, and thanks everyone in chat for stopping by and supporting. Our friendly Pest Welcome, you came in at the end. Thanks for popping in, mate. The Indie Gamer, Venomous AK, and also Ash. I think he's under Game Talk account. I think that's Ash. And also, there's been quite Misuku's been in, Muppet's been in. Probably left in disgust because I brought up Birds of a Feather. He disappeared after that.
Well, just talk about Venomous K quickly. When you put in the comment about when we was talking about Blade being at the end credits of Eternals, he must be the only person on the planet that has watched the entire film and end credits of the Eternals.
To be fair, though, the problem is though, a lot of them films, they purposely put stuff in the end credits on purpose.
Yeah, but the film's that bad. I don't think
I have watched it.
The whole film.
I'm also I went to the cinema. Yeah, me and my wife watched the whole thing and the end credits. He is right.
Wow.
Oh my god!
Blade is at the end, only in voice form. He doesn't actually appear.
Well, that's 2 people that have watched the entire film of Eternals.
No, it's not good. Yeah, it's not good.
It's a bad film.
It's a very bad film.
Oh yes.
But yes, thanks everyone, and we'll be next month now. So right, thanks everyone, and we'll see you all on Thursday on Green Pass Gaming's podcast. So head over there on Thursday. Right, thanks. See ya.